Manny was not ready. Wow, so with 8 seconds, that's going to be strike 3. Wow. Manny was kind of fiddling around with his batting gloves, and it got to 8 seconds. He was not ready, and looking back out at the pitcher. 3, it's a strike. The count was 3-2.
Oh, no.
And Bob Melvin has been ejected. Was it Machado or Melvin who was ejected? Somebody just got tossed. Must have been Manny there. Last comment came from Manny.
Oh, boy.
So that's really bad. So Machado ejected as the conversation continues. We're done with 1 without a score.
Count holding at 1-2, and the pitch is taken for a called strike 3. Tim just bailed, and he's telling the home plate umpire, DJ Rayburn, he's supposed to lock eyes with me. So Tim was ready to hit. He had already asked for time, and then he basically stepped out of the box, and Webb fired a fastball down the middle.
I think Tim Anderson just got run. Pedro out of the dugout to talk to DJ Rayburn, the plate umpire. Tim evidently went to the dugout and was still talking to the plate umpire, Rayburn.
I don't think anyone's ever struck out half a batter.
Nick Castellanos is barking at Nick Lentz from the dugout.
Yeah, Nick's going to get run. Yeah.
He just threw him out. I think he threw Nick out. I don't think he threw Kevin Long out. Yeah, here comes Rob Thompson. Well, I don't see Kevin, and Nick is still there, so maybe it was Kevin that was thrown out.
Jazz Chisholm Jr. stands in. Called strike 3, and Jazz has just been tossed. And now he'll exchange words with Jeff Nelson.
Well, Jeff Nelson had a couple of opportunities to throw him out in the 3rd inning. And after Chisholm decided to bark again at the 3rd strike call, this time he finally got run.
Tucker hits it sharply, but at the second baseman, Gordon comes home for 1, and the relay throw not in time.
And the runner is safe at first base, and they're going to call interference, though, on Kyle Tucker, and that's going to be a double play.
Mark Carlson saying Tucker was inside the baseline, causing that throw to hit him, and so he will be called out on the double play. Dusty Baker wants to talk about this with Mark Carlson. Did Tucker just get tossed? Tucker had a word for Mark Carlson on his way back to the dugout. He wasn't very happy.
And Kyle Tucker has just been thrown out of this game.
That may be where he got tossed.
So Tucker making his point, but again, it's not a reviewable play. Unhappy with that call in the 8th inning. And Dusty, he's back out as well.
Ball 2.
This is the pitch Miller wanted to. He shook off. That was a really well located slider.
Lance Barrett ejects Austin Barnes. Frustrations and tempers boiling over.
You've got a pitcher struggling to find the zone. He throws this one, the slider. Looked like it clipped the bottom, and Austin Barnes.
Also, it's an 8-run game, and he's squeezing guys pretty routinely on pitches on the corner.
I went back and forth for a while, though.
So Barnes is thrown out of the game. Let's see, they're going to have to get Will Smith warm and ready to come in. That becomes the bigger thing, that you wanted to get Smith a full day off here. Or are we going to find out who the 3rd catcher is?
Yeah, you can tell how fired up Doc is right there. Not something you see very often.
And they're shouting for Will Smith to get ready. What a mess. Feels like a great time for a promo. Will Smith might get ejected as soon as he gets out there. Really?
I was already ready.
Jackson gets a high strike and he retires Mullins. So 2 strikeouts for Zach Jacks. Brandon Hyde, I think. Well, let's see. Cedric Mullins maybe has been thrown out of the game. Brandon Hyde's out to defend it. That looked like a very quick hook from Malachi Moore. It's not like Cedric Mullins was complaining all night.
Yeah, and this is not like Cedric Mullins. You know, he hardly ever gets upset.
Brandon Hyde is as furious as we've seen him this year, and about as furious as we've seen him ever with the Orioles. Oh, no. And he's been thrown out. Brandon Hyde and Cedric Mullins both ejected. That is a really quick hook of Cedric Mullins by Malachi Moore.
Strike 3 called.
And Nick's been thrown out of the ball game. He just put a mark down in the dirt as to where that pitch was. So he's been ejected.
And you can see Aaron Boone clearly not happy, and I don't blame him.
Well, they're going to overturn this catch, and then the run will score, and the inning will continue. And he just got thrown out.
Well, I think if you're allowed to wear Scooby-Doo shoes, you wear black shoes with white baseballs painted on your left foot.
Here comes Torey Lovullo.
Yep, here we go.
And Gabe Morales.
Torey Lovullo is unhappy with Gabe Morales, and Torey Lovullo has just been ejected. I think he's upset with the pitch timer too. How Gabe Morales is starting and stopping the hitters' clocks.
And that's it for the skipper.
Well, Brian Snitker's not very happy.
He may not be around for much longer. Look at Wash trying to get in the way.
Onions got tossed. First time this year Brian Snitker has been ejected from a ball game.
Here he goes.
Well, it's not often the skipper gets ejected when things are going as well as they are right now. But Brian Snitker will have an early exit to the showers here.
This is a continuation of a discussion that was held when Germán came off the mound at the end of the third inning. A long discussion after he was checked by first base umpire James Hoy, who's the crew chief. Afterward, now this is at the end of the top of the third, Hoy had an extended conversation with Boone, and now Germán tried to take the mound. He's been intercepted here. He does not have his glove with him, and so we're not sure whether he's going to be able to continue to pitch in this game or not. During the break, we've seen Germán smell his hands, show his hands to the umpire, but I think we are very likely going to see a new Yankee pitcher. And Germán does have a glove on now, but something was amiss as he was checked coming off the mound after the third inning. The umpires are now conferring in fair territory. This was coming off the mound. That's James Hoy, the crew chief, checking his hands and the glove, and then afterwards Hoy went to talk to Aaron Boone, and so Germán came out to start his warm-up tosses, and Hoy again intercepted him, and the umpires have had a conference and now are explaining whatever their judgment is to Germán and Aaron Boone.
If it has to be that long of a discussion, that means something. There's smoke, there's fire.
Well, but now here is Germán with his glove on, going back to the mound where he will presumably start his warm-up tosses, and now Rocco Baldelli's out here to say, hey, what the heck's going on here? If he had something in his glove, on his hands, he needs to come out of the game. And if he didn't, why are we waiting? What was all this about?
Well, it's safe to say that first time through the lineup, he was pretty nasty. 6 Ks, 3 ground balls, a shortstop.
So without knowing for sure what the discussion was along the first base line, I can pretty much guarantee you what this discussion's about along the third base line. Hey, if you caught him with something, he's got to go. What was the point of the umpires conferring, all 4 of them, across the foul line into fair territory? And I think Rocco's getting increasingly agitated here because Germán looks like he's going to continue to pitch.
There had to be something to it. The first umpire was talking by himself, and he had to call the other 3 umpires for help.
And Rocco, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get ejected. And there he goes. And I think he's got a really good point. There was some reason that Germán was stopped for an extended check along the first baseline as he exited the mound after the top of the third, and again before he took the mound in the fourth. But there he is on the rubber.
In between innings, Oliver Marmol and Will Little were having a not so pleasant conversation about the strike zone in the third inning, and Marmol has just been excused.
The conversation went on for a little bit too, and I basically think the whole thing here is, that's great, you gave us a pitch at the end, but you cost us a run with the bases loaded, and I think that's kind of the gist of this conversation right now.
Well, he got his money's worth, and Lance Barksdale comes in, breaks that up. Fourth career ejection for Marmol, his first this year.
Spores tries to get the bottom of the zone.
That was a tough one right there. Looked like he did exactly what he wanted.
Bacchus hearing it from the Rangers dugout. He said that's about enough. Somebody's gone.
Mike Maddox is on that top step, but that might be Boch who's getting after it. I think Bruce Bochy's showing some of the frustration. There you see it. Got him.
And now Bruce Bochy out to get his money's worth here.
We've talked about it. That last pitch probably was a strike. But for the most part, Bacchus has not missed many calls tonight, at least in our vantage point.
Veteran manager has had enough. As Diaz, crew chief, comes out there to break it up. Boch wasn't happy. He made that known.
Does it, bounced into a 1-6-3 inning-ending double play second inning. So it's like, okay,
yeah,
solo home run, man on first, 2 quick outs.
Somebody's just got tossed from the Rockies dugout.
Adam Hammery giving it to somebody. I don't know who it was. It was Bud Black or a player, but Adam reached the boiling point. Oh, he ran somebody. He did run somebody. Did he toss Buddy, or is he
no,
yelling
it's not
at
Buddy.
Or is it someone else?
Somebody else.
That's P.J. Piloteri, who's one of the assistant hitting coaches.
That always gets me, is like, how do you know if you have your mask on?
The umpires did another check of Max Scherzer, and after a heated discussion, Scherzer has been ejected from the game, presumably for having a sticky substance on his hand. The crew chief, Dan Bellino, did the ejecting, and now Buck Showalter in conversation with Bellino as Scherzer has been ejected from the game. So he had his glove switched earlier, and they're looking at the second glove, and they were looking at his pitching hand as well.
Well, what Cuzzy was telling, and Bellino got involved, is that even though it's a new glove, it feels like the old glove. Or did Max go back to the old glove and try to take whatever substance was on it or on his hand off the glove? That might be the case. He might have brought the old glove back. I mean, Buck Showalter has said that you could ask about every pitcher in baseball using sticky substances every inning. And this has become a real crazy time here in Los Angeles.
So this was right before the last half inning that Scherzer pitched, before the top of the third. And put some tape on his glove hand.
Is that to secure the pitch comm inside of his glove? Maybe that's what that's for. So maybe the tape inside the glove produces some sticky stuff that leaves a remnant on Max's hand. Max is saying that the sticky stuff is on my left hand. I don't throw with my left hand. Wow.
I would have thought that Buck would have been run here.
Yeah, you would think for.
I mean, he let him have it, but he's not thrown out of the game.
Well, you can understand Bellino wanted to let Buck say his piece, because this is a huge call on the umpire's part.
Comes Vargas, pops it up. Alonso's had a hard time finding the ball in the sun today. He makes the grab and ends the inning.
There's no.
Second ejection of the day. First was Max Scherzer for foreign substance. And now it's Robert Van Scoyoc for letting Dan Bellino know what he thinks about his strike zone today.
Fastball, slider.
That's it. Just kind of making it 46% sliders. Oh, wow. Aledmys Diaz has been called out.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Mario brother watches for Hadavi and Krishan.
So the pitch timer got Aledmys Diaz. Diaz, he's not moving. Marcotte is really probably as animated as we've seen him. And Adam Hammery throws him out, and now Marcotte is going to get his piece here.
All this is. The clock is winding, everybody sees it, and now the home plate umpire, Hammery, is doing his job, and he's saying, look, the clock has ran out. You were out of timeouts so far, trying to dictate the clock. And
frustrated.
If you're Diaz and maybe you tweaked your hand, your wrist a little bit, and you need a
David Bell is not happy. And he's been ejected. First time has been tossed this year, 21st ejection of his career.
Boy, oh boy.
Strike three, Jake Berth.
I mean, Reynolds just said, you've got to be kidding me. Hey, who can blame him? Didn't throw him really a strike, and he just got tossed. Reynolds got ejected. And Reynolds frustrated, and again, with all due respect for a hitter, that's just hard to take.
He's going to see he missed a couple calls.
That last pitch, by the way, to Reynolds.
And this was actually probably the best pitch that he threw him the entire at bat.
Well, there's that dive. Saying the same thing. I didn't see a strike the whole time, and I get called out.
Well, he gave him the equipment violation warning, and then I'm sure he said, you got to keep it on the plate. You know, it's one thing to give up one pitch, maybe in at bat or every two at bats, but that was a good. All three pitches were not necessarily strikes.
And the 3-2. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Trout down on strikes. A big strikeout for Holmes. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. Phil Nevin does not like the call, and he is making it known, and he's been thrown out of the game by the first base umpire, Will Little. And he's going to get his money's worth. And now he's thrown out again by the home plate ump, and Nevin said, I already got thrown out.
He's the winning run at the plate. Now Aaron Boone is going to play the Trevino card. Yankees trying to win it at the bottom of the 9th inning. Rizzo on deck. That's going to bring up.
Yeah, Will Little threw him out initially, and then Barksdale threw him out too. So both of them, and he finally got a chance to get down to Little.
That's a 50-50 on my mind. But, you know, if you watch Nevin go out and argue, and I swear I read his lips, he's like, what are you doing? That is Mike Trout. I mean, there's certain things in the game you don't want to see. And one of your stars taking the bat out of their hands as a manager, you're going to protect him.
Tell you what, that was a little bit too close to be calling that one.
Was called out for that check swing.
That's a little bit closer. You can, yeah.
Romuto saying it hit him.
But here's the best part. The umpire just took his word for it.
That is reviewable. See, Buddy doesn't have, remember the Rockies lost their challenge, so Buddy can't challenge it. You can't just say, hey, I got hit and point to first.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's not backing off. And I understand why. Just what you said, Corey.
Called strike 3. That one might have been outside, and I think Urias is letting Vic Carapazza know that. 5-0 Orioles through 5.
Really, you know, kind of embarrass your profession when you do that. There's just no reason when you miss 2 pitches in a row, and he didn't show you up, didn't bounce his helmet, didn't do anything, just was irritated that he got called out on 2 balls that were off the plate.
But anytime that you show up the umpire, they're going to give you the hook.
And Urias gets the hook right here for throwing his equipment.
Doubleheader, lots of fastballs away. Lots of breaking balls away as well.
Oscar Gonzalez makes the catch off the bat of Garrett Cooper for out number 1.
Somebody got thrown out for something. I don't know what.
Well, Skip Schumacher is coming out to argue with the home plate umpire.
And now Skip Schumacher's been thrown out.
So he didn't really care for the strike zone, and Skip Schumacher is going to get run for the first time as a Marlins manager.
But it wasn't that bad of a pitch for it to become this, in my opinion.
Looks like he's talking to the home plate umpire, Dan Merzel, about you calling pitches up, you're calling pitches down, you're calling pitches in and out.
You know how it is when you're struggling to find momentum. You're almost waiting for that bad thing to happen.
Swing and a miss, and Contreras shatters his bat. It splits lengthwise, and the big crowd in Seattle didn't like that.
A little frustration boiling over there for Contreras.
And somebody got tossed, and Wilson's going to get his money's worth. A few parting shots as the designated hitter is ejected from the game.
And a strike on Kike. Some real barking there out of the Red Sox dugout. They are all over Valentine.
Yeah, Junior Valentine just said, hold up.
And that's all, I think, for Alex Cora. We'll see. And that's actually going to be Patsy. Alex Cora staying put. Pete Fatsy's going to be thrown out.
Pete Fatsy, the hitting coach, was yapping as well.
Yeah, what Pete's saying there is it can't be both. Pick one.
I think he might have pulled his foot from the bag. The throw is wide. The question is the foot on the bag? Charlie wants to get a quick look to see if they would like to review it.
Pedro is suggesting to the first base umpire that he didn't like the call very much.
Yeah, to have a good post-game meal while you're at it.
I believe that was an ejection. It's a nice look. And Luis Robert gets hit. The party was on in the dugout, and then suddenly everybody's like, wait, what's going on here? I think we have warnings. And now Pedro Grifol just got thrown out of the game.
By Marvin Hudson again.
Again. See, okay. That's wild.
I think the one thing that Pedro is arguing is that, look, if you think that it was intentional, so you're warning both teams, why don't you throw him out?
That's right.
Well, Q got tossed for the first time in his Royal managerial career. That pitch was off the plate, no doubt about it. And, you know, just got through talking about, man, you got to swing, you got to hack, or don't let him ring you up. And the pitch was down, and Q let him have it. Good for him.
Spent in Central and Eastern time zone.
Yeah, not counting the first series of the season in Chicago, first 2 road trips out to the West Coast. That's tough duty.
Willie Adames thought he had called timeout, wasn't granted, and then the pitch was right around his letters, and
he just called a strike on it.
Yeah, an automatic strike on Willie Adames, and Craig Counsell is coming out as well. Not pleased with Adam Beck, the home plate umpire. Craig Counsell just got run. Just kind of lost control of the situation, it felt like. There's strike 3. Maria gets out of the inning. Willie Adames is still upset with Adam Beck. Adames just got run. Pat Murphy intervening, and you don't see Willie Adames have that short of leash ever.
The swing of it's there too. Strike 3. Ramirez does not like it at all, but the Rays.
We got a new pitcher in the ball game. It is Jason Adam. He's been really effective at the back end of the pit. And he's got a most unusual motion to
John
go with it.
Tumpane just threw somebody out of the dugout. 2 guys were ejected, I believe, from the Tampa Bay dugout. I have to imagine one of them's Ramirez as he's walking down the tunnel, and maybe Kevin Cash as well. I saw 2 motions, unless it was just vehement to make sure that Ramirez knew. He ejected Ramirez for sure.
Yeah, that you could see. And he held up 2 fingers. Now, I'm not sure he was complaining about 2 pitches maybe and only threw out 1 guy.
Yep.
We'll find out.